If I can have your attention, test. If I can have your attention. If I can test. If I can get everyone's attention, we're getting ready to start. We need all the aisleways cleared for ceremonial purposes, and we need all seats filled. If there's seats between you and another group, if you could scoot in, that way we can get everybody in and seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Lieutenant Kyle Nall, Commander of the Kentucky State Police Academy. On behalf of the Kentucky State Police and members of the Academy staff, I want to welcome you to the graduation ceremony of Cadet Class 96. As we begin the graduation, I ask you to please stand as the Kentucky State Police Honor Guard presents the colors of our nation and our Commonwealth. Then please remain standing for the national anthem sung by Trooper Gregory, followed by the invocation by Sergeant Davy Norris.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and of the home of the brave?
If you will, please bow your heads. Father, I come to you humbly this morning, and I thank you, my God, for all that you do, Lord, for the blessings, how you've blessed us, and Lord, for taking us through the difficult times. Lord, I want to thank you for these troopers. Father, I pray a blessing upon them, and I pray peace to them and their family. I pray that you would keep them safe and give them guidance and help them to represent our Commonwealth and to represent you by serving like you served us. I just praise you, my God, and I thank you, and I ask it in your name, Jesus. Amen.
Please be seated. Today's program serves as the pinnacle to the preceding 24 weeks of training these new troopers have completed. They have endured many long hours of physical, mental, and academic training in order to be called troopers as of today. In addition to the normal curriculum of a cadet class, 9 of these troopers have embarked on being a part of the first group to attain their associate's degrees from Bluegrass Community and Technical College during their academy training. If those 9 troopers would please stand. Trooper Shane Bowling, Trooper Corey Charles, Trooper Tony Cornwell, Trooper Jacob Harper, Trooper Aaron Harris, Trooper Robert Hartley, Trooper Ethan Hartzell, Trooper Shakori Needham, and Trooper Cody Stiltner. These gentlemen have endured many long hours of homework, additional classwork, and the struggles of balancing the demands of the academy staff and college professors at the same time. Congratulations on your academic accomplishments. We're proud of you. Joining me today on stage for this very special occasion are some special honored guests that I would like to introduce. To my far left is the Honorable Sarah W. Combs, Judge of the Kentucky Court of Appeals. Next to her is the Lieutenant Governor of Kentucky, Ms. Janine Hampton. And to the right of her is the Commissioner of the Kentucky State Police, Richard Sanders. Also with us today, seated in the audience to my right in the front rows, are the Lieutenant Colonels and Majors of the Kentucky State Police, and directly behind them are the post and branch commanders. We would like to thank all of the Kentucky State Police family for your attendance today, and thank you all for your support for Cadet Class 96. I would also like to thank those in attendance today from other training academies and to police officers from other departments. I would like to take this time to give some special recognition to the retired troopers we have in attendance today. Would you all please stand? Thank you all for the sacrifices you have endured and for paving the way for the rest of us. Over the past 24 weeks, Class 96 has taken time to recognize all of our fallen officers and troopers through specially designed workouts. These workouts were designed to have rep schemes and times which are significant to the service of each of the fallen. Additionally, these heroes were recognized on the anniversary of their end of watch in cases where it fell within the dates of the class. On that date, the members of Class 96 would gather around the memorial in the octagon of their barracks with a humble spirit. Then a volunteer from the class would read the end of watch summary for that trooper or officer while we reflected on their service. In that spirit, I would like to take this time to read the end of watch summary of Trooper Eric Chrisman, as the anniversary of his end of watch is tomorrow, June 23rd. Before I do that, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize Trooper Chrisman's father, Randy Chrisman, who's sitting up here in the front row. Randy, if you would stand up real quick. Trooper Eric K. Chrisman, age 23, was fatally injured on June 23, 2015 in a vehicle collision while en route to a reckless driving complaint on US 62 in Livingston County. Upon receiving his commission as a trooper, he was assigned to Post 1 Mayfield, where his death came only 6 months into his career. Trooper Chrisman is buried at Sand Spring Baptist Cemetery in Anderson County. In honor of his service and sacrifice, Kentucky 326 in Anderson County has been designated the Trooper Eric K. Chrisman Memorial Highway. End of watch, June 23rd, 2015. If you would pause for just a moment of silence. Thank you. It is of great importance that we reflect not only on Trooper Chrisman's death, but on the life that he lived. Trooper Chrisman had a motto that he lived by. His motto was God first, family second, and everyone is family. Trooper Chrisman's legacy of this motto is forever etched in my heart, and it's also etched in the hearts of Class 96. Also joining us today are family members of fallen troopers Blake Tribby and Cameron Ponder. Thank you for joining us. At this time, Commissioner Rick Sanders will provide some remarks and introduce our keynote speaker for today's graduation ceremony. Commissioner Sanders.
Thank you very much for being here with us this morning. I'm honored to be here as the Commissioner of the Kentucky State Police and to welcome these 42 new troopers into our family. As the Lieutenant said, we have many people to thank for this fine tradition of law enforcement. We've already spoken about the command staff, the post commanders, our retired troopers, but I want to recognize all present and past troopers and ask you to stand, if you would, for our thank you. I also want to recognize those men and women in law enforcement that might not be a member of the state police, but a member of law enforcement. As I've said repeatedly, there's a kinship among law enforcement, whether that be tan, green, brown, blue, or gray. I thank you for your service to this Commonwealth and to this nation. I want to recognize as well, we have two troopers from out of state. We have a trooper who's a father of one of our cadets. He's with the Pennsylvania State Police. Nathan Moore's father is here. If you would, sir, please stand. And we also have a new trooper, who's only been a trooper for, I think, about 4 months from the Wisconsin State Police. And he has a friend who's graduating today. So thank you very much for being with us. And I want to tell you something. You know, every Kentucky State Trooper sings like that. And we also have paratroopers every day at the academy. You know, we mentioned tradition. It's very important that we talk about tradition because that's one of the key linchpins of the Kentucky State Police. We have so much tradition. But it's also important to recognize the Honorable Sarah Combs. I'm so honored to have her with us today. She's been doing the swearing-in ceremony for the Kentucky State Police for 25 years. That's tradition. Judge Combs, thank you for being here. If you look in the program, I think the words in it are very insightful, and I thank those that put those words in our program. It says, standing on the shoulders of those who came before us. That's important for these young troopers to know and to appreciate those that came before them. It's also important for them to recognize that they are now the shoulders for those coming after them to stand. They've got a lot of responsibility to live up to what you troopers have done in the past, and we only know that they will continue to do that great work in the future. I want to also talk to the troopers for just a minute. This step today is just one more rung in your life's ladder. This is a rung that you've taken, a very important rung. You're climbing life's ladder into a very important, prestigious position. But I would remind you to never forget those people who are holding your ladder. I want to thank the families of these troopers that have been so supportive for the last 24 weeks to allow your family and friends to be with us to become Kentucky State Troopers. If you would, please stand. Any family member of these troopers. Also, if you look in the program, it talks about the Trooper's Creed, and it talks about the Trooper's commitment to excellence. The three things that stand out to me are honor, courage, and commitment. That's what makes you a Kentucky State Trooper. Not many people will rise to that occasion, and not many people will accept that responsibility. First, I'll talk about honor. A trooper exemplifies the ultimate standard in ethical and moral conduct, utmost of importance. They're a person of integrity, a person of accountability that never lowers their standard while being on or off the job. I talked to them this morning at the barracks for their last time in the barracks, and I told them how important it is that they live up to the reputation of a Kentucky State Trooper, both on and off duty. And it's important they never tarnish the badge of law enforcement or sullen the reputation of the gray uniform. Not everybody can wear a gray uniform. Many have heard me say this before. I've been to 2 academies. I've been to a police academy, and I've been to a federal academy, but I have not earned the right to wear a gray uniform of a Kentucky State Trooper. I'm the commissioner, but I don't introduce myself as trooper. Another aside, when I first became commissioner a little over 2 years ago, the command staff said, "Sir, what do we call you? Do we call you Colonel, Chief, Commissioner?" I said, "You can call me Rick, Commissioner, Chief. Don't call me Colonel Sanders. I won't accept that." So The next word we talked about was courage. Courage is honor in action. It's important that these troopers know that. It's mental discipline. It's the willingness to take a stand when it's not easy. These men and women of the Kentucky State Police have been trained by some of the nation's best instructors, and I want to thank them for preparing these troopers to be troopers. Most of the time, these troopers are going to be among the community that supports them, that prays for them, and honors them. But sometimes they're thrown into dark places, and they have to respond with courage and act as a true professional in that line of work. And the last word is commitment. Commitment's total dedication to the state police, to this Commonwealth, and to this great nation. So it's important that these troopers never forget those important words: honor, courage, commitment, and I'll add tradition. All important. It's already been noted that we have guests with us today that are surviving members, family members of troopers that have given their life in the line of duty. We have 31 names on the wall at the Kentucky State Police Headquarters of those that have died in the line of duty. And just this year, we've added 6 additional names of officers that died in the line of duty when it was the Highway Patrol prior to 1948. It's important that we never forget those that have made the ultimate sacrifice, and we will not ever forget. And I want to thank you, surviving members, for being here with us today, and thank you for the honor it is to be a friend to you. It's already been spoken by Lieutenant Kyle Nall that Eric Chrisman, his motto lives with the Kentucky State Police. The motto of God first, family second, everyone is family. And it's important that these troopers know that they're entering a family. And it's also appropriate that we send them off on their way from God's house. I pray for these men and women every day. And I think this morning is just proof that God's looking upon babies and troopers. What a beautiful morning we had. We all worried about the rain, but wow, what a glorious morning it was. And I ask you every day to pray for these men and women for this terribly difficult job. Now I would like to introduce our keynote speaker. Lieutenant Governor Janine Hampton is with us this morning, and it's an honor to have her with us. We have a lot of similarities. She did 7 years in the Air Force. She wore a uniform. She rose to the ranks within the Air Force. But just as important, or probably more importantly to me, is that she's earned a badge of courage. She served in Desert Storm in Saudi Arabia and defended this great nation. And I want to thank her for her service. And if you would, Lieutenant Governor, I forgot one other thing I want to mention, and that is to those men and women in uniform. And I would like Master Gunnery Sergeant Robert Deskins to please stand. And if you would, all men and women who have served or are serving in the military, please stand. Master Gunnery Sergeant, please stand again, please. Thank you. Sergeant Deskins has 28 years in the Marine Corps. He told me this morning he's going to retire in 2 years, 30 years active duty Marine Corps, and he's thinking about becoming a Kentucky State Police trooper. So we welcome you, Master Sergeant. Thank you. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our Lieutenant Governor for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, Janine Hampton.
Thank you, and good morning. It is truly a privilege to be here today for this ceremony. I want to share with you a story really quick. In the 1990s, I was stationed at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. And while I was there, I had a couple of, shall we say, encounters with the Oklahoma State Troopers. I may have been speeding 5 over. The first time I was taking a curve, there was a favorite curve on my way home, and I would always take it as fast as I could. And when the trooper pulled me over, I was honest, and I said, yes, sir. I just like the way my car corners when I take that curve, so I don't get to feel it otherwise. But the second encounter, I was only doing 60 in a 55, honestly, but I passed not one, not two, but 3 troopers who were all going 55, and all the traffic behind them was going 55, and when I thought that was kind of silly. Now, in hindsight, I realized that could have been for my protection because I've learned what an intentional slowdown is. Sometimes you'll do that in case there's, some construction ahead, and they might be moving something, doing something on a bridge or something, and they're intentionally trying to keep you somewhere. But they had these cars staggered so I could pass them. So I did. So I passed the first one, and nothing happened. I passed the second one, and nothing happened. And when I passed the third one, he pulled me over. And I remember this encounter. He was very nice. And he ended up letting me off with a warning, but he let me sweat it out. He did. They walked really slowly to my car and walked slowly back, and he's writing, and he comes back and asks me if I can just, on the rest of my journey, just, well, actually, the question he asked me was, did I think it was fair that I was speeding while everybody else was not? And any other day, I would have popped off and said something sarcastic, but I didn't on this day. And he let me off. But I'll tell you, I remember this gentleman. It was Officer Timmons, badge 844. Now, this encounter was in 1990, and I still remember his name and badge number. And the reason I do is because he was so nice. And what I have learned is that our law enforcement officers, those of you who serve and protect, are human, just like the rest of us. And if we treat you like humans, then more than likely it will be returned. And since I've become Lieutenant Governor, I've had the time to spend some time with a special group of Kentucky State Troopers, those who serve in the executive security side. Now, I didn't realize I was going to get executive security, so it's been an interesting journey. So I want to point out my Trooper Matt Cardwell is with me today. He's standing over there, and he is with me a lot. And I've gotten to know him. We spend a lot of time traveling together, and I've gotten to hear his stories of when he wore that uniform. And he's done some amazing things, and got to hear some of the really feats of heroism that these men and women perform, and how they put their lives on the line every single day. So to those today who are graduating, who are new troopers, I'm glad to see there are a few, including Hampton. If you're there, I want to meet you. Where's Hampton? I want to meet you. Welcome to Bowling Green. He's going to be stationed at Bowling Green Post 3, which is right next to my church, Hillview Heights. So pop in if you need to. But you're coming on board at a time when the need for you, it seems greater than ever. When the respect for law enforcement seems to be at an all-time low. I don't know if that's true or not. It depends on what community you're in. But you're coming on board at a time when you are needed more than ever. And Governor Bevan and I are so grateful. We are grateful for all the men and women who serve the people of Kentucky. And we're very grateful that this class behind me, that those of you who are graduating today chose to serve. You could have done anything, and I look forward to that. Marine, come on board. We will be grateful to have you in a couple of years. We will be honored to have you join us in a couple of years. But when you go out there, just know that the people that I meet in the Commonwealth of Kentucky have tremendous respect for what you do, and we are grateful that you are there, because you are what stands between us and our families. That little girl who was up here, you're all that stand between us and the bad guys. It's a thin blue line. I wear this bracelet occasionally. You should get one on Amazon. It's really nice. But it's a thin blue line, a thin gray line, and it is a thin line. I'm originally from Detroit. I know how thin that line can be, but I know I'm also grateful that you're there. And I have a chance as I visit schools to talk about what you do. And it's kind of interesting when I visit schools, and they usually spot my executive security, and they spot the radio as what catches their attention. And it turns into almost a career day with the officer who's with me, because they want to know all about what they do and how they got there, and you know, what the job is like. And some kids are genuinely interested in law enforcement. And I think we've really, Trooper Cardwell, Trooper Salmon, some of the other folks who've been with me, the kids latch onto them and start asking questions. And it's really encouraging to see that there are young people who still have respect for law enforcement. But again, I just want, and I'm not gonna be long, because I know that you didn't come to hear a keynote speaker. You came to see the class behind me graduate, and it's really exciting. I love a graduation, but especially this special class of people who are going forth and will be serving the public. I just know that there are people in Kentucky who are praying for you. I pray for you every day. I pray that you get home to your families every day, and I pray that eventually your end of watch comes on a day and time of your choosing. So God bless you each and every day. I want the troopers to know that God will cover them each and every single day that they go out and are serving the rest of us, and we truly appreciate. Governor Bevan and I congratulate you for joining. We hope you get new cars. I think that was in the budget. But God bless you for what you're doing, and God bless the family members here. I did not expect to see this many people out to support them. I was in the rotunda the other day for the shorter graduation ceremony. And but I'm very pleased to see this auditorium filled full of people who are supporting the folks behind us. And just know that Governor Bevan and I support you, and come see us anytime. And if you see me on the road, I'm only doing 5 over, okay? Just know that. So God bless you. Thank you all for being here today. God bless you.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton. The president of Class 96 is Trooper John Holt. He currently resides in Nebo, Kentucky. After today, Trooper Holt will be assigned to Post 1 Mayfield. Ladies and gentlemen, Trooper Holt.
Good morning. Welcome, Commissioner Sanders, command staff, special guests, academy staff, fellow troopers, family, and friends to the Class 96 graduation ceremony. From day one, we've been told by the academy staff that whether they graduate 10 troopers or 50 troopers, they will without a doubt be deserving of that title, trooper. On January 7th, Class 96 started with 75 cadets, and here we are 6 months later, 42 troopers strong. Mayhem. That's the word I would use to best describe day zero. Each one of us had various expectations as to what this academy was going to be like, and I believe within the first hour of day zero, those assumptions were pretty well tossed out the window. We never just, for example, I have a few things, but we never knew just how heavy our driver's licenses really were. Some of us got raises, not monetarily, but physically, and the term dilly-dilly gained a whole new meaning. Our class is made up of troopers from various walks of life, and we have a few prior law enforcement, former military, laborers, and college graduates. But regardless of where we are or where we came from, we all have the same common drive that carried us through to today, and that was to be a part of the best police agency in Kentucky. Class 96 is unique in a few ways. We're the first class to run a college program in addition to the 6 months of academy training. We had the opportunity to train at the Norse Tactical Training Facility, and we had the unique opportunity and the honor of completing 31 hero workouts. And it was an honor to participate in the Cameron Ponder Memorial 5K. You don't just learn from 9 to 5 in the academy. The hours are much longer, and you learn anytime you're around the staff, and sometimes even each other. We've changed over the course of 6 months, and through trials and tribulation, we've weeded out the weak, learned our personal limitations, and grown a lot closer as a class. When I say closer, I mean we've become like a family. Living together for 6 months, you learn a whole lot about each other, and like most families, you have your ups and your downs. During this academy, some of us have lost loved ones. We've missed out on birthdays and anniversaries. We've missed seeing the first steps our child takes, and we've even experienced the birth of a son. Although we've made sacrifices to be at this academy, both our families and the families of the academy staff have also made sacrifices of their own. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you for your support of your trooper, as I know the large role that my family played in my life. Class 96, I found this passage of scripture reading in Romans a few months ago, and as it talks about dedicated service, I couldn't help but apply it to the life of a trooper. Romans 12, 9 through 13 says this: "Let love be without hypocrisy, abhor what is evil, cling to what is good, be devoted to one another in brotherly love, give preference to one another in honor, not lagging behind in diligence, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, rejoicing in hope, persevering in tribulation, devoted to prayer, contributing to the needs of the saints, practicing hospitality." My challenge to you is that you apply this verse to each of your lives throughout your career, that you serve with the memory and pride of those who have gone before you, that you love to fight to win, and would rather die than quit. It's been an honor to be your class president. I love each and every one of you fellas. God bless.
Trooper Holt mentioned in his speech the sacrifices of the academy staff during a cadet class. I'd like to take this opportunity to echo that sentiment. The members of my staff, both sworn and civilian, sacrificed time at home with their families, sleep, vacations, and many of the other luxuries of life to ensure that these new troopers were tested and challenged every single day of their training. And they were tested and challenged. They had to earn every stitch of cloth on their uniforms. While our job at the Academy branch is to ensure that we mold the men and women who we train into troopers, we also believe that to be a calling from a higher being. I have something here that I'd like to read to you. I think it's very fitting. It's called The Creation of a Trooper. It says, "When the Lord was creating troopers, he was into his 6th day of overtime when an angel appeared and said, 'You're doing a lot of fiddling around on this one.' And the Lord said, 'Have you read the specs on this order? A trooper has to be able to run 5 miles through hollers in the dark, scale walls and fences, enter homes the health inspector wouldn't touch, work a multitude of cases, and not wrinkle their uniform. He has to be able to sit in an undercover vehicle all day on a stakeout, cover a homicide scene, canvass the neighborhood for witnesses, and testify in court the next day. He has to be in top physical condition at all times, running on black coffee and half-eaten meals, and he has to have 6 pairs of hands.' The angel shook her head slowly and said, 6 pairs of hands? No way. 'It's not the hands that are causing the problems,' said the Lord. 'It's the 3 pairs of eyes a trooper has to have.' 'That's on the standard model?' asked the angel. The Lord nodded. One pair that sees through a bulge in a pocket before he asks, "May I see what's in there, sir?" when he already has a suspicion that the object is some kind of contraband or an object that may hurt the trooper. Another pair in the side of his head for the safety of the trooper and others who are around them. And another pair of eyes in front that can look reassuringly at a bleeding victim and say, "You'll be all right, ma'am," when he knows it isn't so. "Lord," said the angel, touching his sleeve, "rest and work on this tomorrow." "I can't," said the Lord. "I already have a model that can talk a 250-pound drunk into a patrol car without incident and feed a family of 5 on a civil service paycheck." The angel circled the model of the trooper very slowly. "Can it think?" the angel asked. "You bet," said the Lord. "It can tell you the elements of 100 crimes, recite Miranda warnings in its sleep, detain, investigate, search and arrest a criminal on the street in less time than it takes 5 educated judges to debate the legality of the stop, and it still keeps its sense of humor. This trooper also has phenomenal personal control. He can deal with crime scenes painted in hell, coax a confession from a child abuser, comfort a murder victim's family, and then read in the daily paper how law enforcement isn't sensitive to the rights of criminal suspects. Finally, the angel bent over and ran her finger across the cheek of the trooper. "There's a leak," she pronounced. "I told you that you were trying to put too much into this model." "That's not a leak," said the Lord. "It's a tear." "What's the tear for?" asked the angel. "It's for bottled up emotions, for fallen comrades, for years of service, for never receiving a mere thank you, for all the hell the trooper has seen in their career, for commitment to that funny piece of cloth called the American flag, and for justice." "You're a genius," said the angel. The Lord looked somberly up at the angel and said, "I didn't put it there." The author is anonymous. While on that note, I would like to take this opportunity to recognize one of my civilian personnel, Miss Sarah Emmons. Miss Emmons, would you stand up? Sarah has been a part of the Academy staff for over 17 years, and Class 96 is her 20th cadet class for whom she's been a part of. Including the 42 cadets of this class, Sarah has been here to see over 990 troopers graduate from this academy. Sarah works extremely hard every day, but she works even harder around graduation time. She works hard to ensure that these new troopers receive the recognition and honor that they deserve for their accomplishments. Sarah, thank you for your hard work and dedication to our branch, to our agency personnel, and to the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Without further ado, Commissioner Sanders, the members of Class 96 have successfully completed the academic, vocational, and physical training requirements for graduation from the Kentucky State Police Academy. Based on their performance, recommendations of the Academy staff, and by my authority as Academy Commander, I recommend the conferring of diplomas to Class 96 as troopers with the Kentucky State Police. Class 96, please rise. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you would please hold your applause until we have concluded the awarding of diplomas.
Sarah's still keeping us in line up here.
Matthew Barger, Barberville, Kentucky. Jonathan Bobea, Bronx, New York. Shane Bowling, London, Kentucky. Trooper Bowling is also receiving an associate's degree from Bluegrass Community and Technical College in addition to his academy diploma. Nathan Brown, Winchester, Kentucky. Aaron Caldwell, Harlan, Kentucky. Jonathan Callis, Pleasureville, Kentucky. Corey Charles, Belfry, Kentucky. Trooper Charles is also receiving an associate's degree from Bluegrass Community and Technical College in addition to his academy diploma. Austin Cornett, Somerset, Kentucky. Tony Cornwell, Paducah, Kentucky. Trooper Cornwell is also receiving an associate's degree from Bluegrass Community and Technical College in addition to his academy diploma. Ethan Crouch, Milltown, Indiana. Thomas Zartorsky, Louisville, Kentucky. Kevin Driesbach, Louisville, Kentucky. Zachary Edwards, Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. Trooper Edwards is donning the same badge as Dad wore in 1983 when he graduated from Cadet Class 61. Trooper Edwards' father is retired Lieutenant Tony Edwards. Jarrett Fields, Whitesburg, Kentucky. James Ford, Magnolia, Kentucky. Aaron Hampton, Harlan, Kentucky. Aaron Harris, Rockholds, Kentucky. Trooper Harris is also receiving an associate's degree from Bluegrass Community and Technical College in addition to his academy certificate. Robert Hartley, Mount Washington, Kentucky. Trooper Hartley is also receiving an associate's degree. Ethan Hartzell, Olive Hill, Kentucky. Trooper Hartzell is also receiving an associate's degree. Matthew Hilvert, Burlington, Kentucky. John Holt, Nebo, Kentucky. Kevin Howard, Harlan, Kentucky. Bo Hubbard, Glasgow, Kentucky. Charles Jones, Jr., Warwick, Georgia. Jared Lewis, London, Kentucky. Stephen Lewis, Smilax, Kentucky. Dalton Malott, Centertown, Kentucky. Nathan Moore, Ludlow, Pennsylvania. Zachary Napier, Mount Washington, Kentucky. Shakori Needham, London, Kentucky. Trooper Needham is also receiving an associate's degree from BCTC in addition to his academy diploma. Joseph Richling, Owensboro, Kentucky. Nathan Roark, Vico, Kentucky. Craig Rose, Union, Kentucky. Adam Sandage, Hodgenville, Kentucky. Matthew Simler, Covington, Kentucky. Cody Stiltner, Pikeville, Kentucky. Trooper Stiltner is also receiving an associate's degree from Bluegrass Community and Technical College in addition to his academy diploma. Jonathan Tanner, Warsaw, Kentucky. Aaron Tucker, Stearns, Kentucky. Evan Warwick, Greenwich, Ohio. Cameron Wright, Elizabethtown, Kentucky. Elliot Young, Mount Washington, Kentucky. At each cadet class graduation, we honor the valedictorian of the class. For Class 96, the valedictorian is Trooper Jacob Harper from Somerset, Kentucky, who has distinguished himself with a grade point average of 95.01%. Trooper Harper managed to also accomplish this while maintaining a 3.85 GPA with Bluegrass Community and Technical College while earning his associate's degree in the GOTS degree program, and also having the responsibility of being the vice president of Class 96. As the valedictorian, Trooper Harper will be the recipient of a new 2018 Dodge Charger patrol car. Trooper Jacob Harper. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Sarah W. Combs, Judge of the Kentucky Court of Appeals, will now administer the oath of office.
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to all of you for having someone in this ceremony so dear to you. Kentucky is graced by their presence and yours and their service especially. All solemn moments in life are accompanied by the taking of an oath, and this is a solemn and sacred moment today. So it's very fitting that you witness today their taking of the colorful Kentucky oath of office, constitutional oath of office, that they will long remember as they spend years of their life in the service of this great Commonwealth. And so, troopers to be, would you please raise your right hand and listen carefully, and at the end of the oath, indicate your willingness to perform according to its dictates. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this Commonwealth, and that I will be faithful and true to the Commonwealth of Kentucky so long as I continue a citizen thereof, and that I will faithfully execute to the best of my ability the office of Kentucky State Trooper according to law. And I do further solemnly swear or affirm that since the adoption of the present Constitution, I, being a citizen of this state, have not fought a duel with deadly weapons within this state nor out of it, nor have I sent or accepted a challenge to fight a duel with deadly weapons, nor have I acted as second in carrying a challenge, nor aided or assisted any person thus offending, so help me God. Do you so swear or affirm, or will you so swear or affirm? I will! Congratulations, and thank you in advance for the years of service that we will enjoy thanks to you.
Thank you, Judge Combs. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand as the Honor Guard re-enters with the colors of our nation and Commonwealth. The benediction will now be given by the chaplain of Class 96, Trooper Aaron Harris, with the reading of the Trooper's Prayer. Please remain standing for the singing of My Old Kentucky Home by the troopers of Class 96.
Let us pray. Almighty God, whose great power and eternal wisdom embraces the universe, continue to watch over all law enforcement officers, we pray. Keep them from harm in their endeavor to stop crime and violence. Help them keep our streets and homes safe by night and day. We commend them to your loving care because the job is dangerous. Grant them your unending strength and courage in their daily activities. Dear God, watch over all these brave men and women. Grant them your almighty protection and unite them safely with their families when duty is done, and give them peace. Amen.
Class, prepare to sound off My Old Kentucky Home.
Tis so
Kentucky home, for the old Kentucky home far away. The head must bow and the back will have to bend, wherever the people may go. A few more days and the trouble all will end in the field where the sugar canes grow. A few more days for to tote the weary load, no matter 'twill never be light. A few more days till we totter on the road, then my old Kentucky home, good night. Weep no more, my lady, oh, weep no more today. We will sing one song for the old Kentucky home, for the old Kentucky home far away.
At this time, Kentucky's new troopers will recite the Troopers' Creed, and then Sergeant Burton will give the command to dismiss the class. Upon the command to dismiss, this will conclude our graduation ceremony. Thank you all for joining us on this very special occasion.
Prepare to sound off the Troopers' Creed. Sound off.